thanks for staying with us here on Ghana today. And of course, we're having a lovely Tuesday morning. In with us, we've got Pastor Pepe Ramnath, and this is a very interesting guy. He's also a scientist, I would say, and it's really, really funny how you link the two, scientist and man of God together. Well, the only way we'll find out is by talking to him. Welcome to Ghana today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Interesting combination.
Yep.
Scientist, man of God. Let's start talking about this combination.
Yeah. Well, I think that's my personal feeling that they do coexist with each other. It is impossible to be a scientist and yet not believe in God. Because as you begin to study the universe and you begin to study the physical phenomenon of how this earth was created and the planet and the universe and the galaxies and so, it is impossible for you no longer to believe that there isn't a God. You know, me and you were talking earlier, and you were saying to me that a lot of people believe that scientists does not believe in God. I don't. Is that
yes? Yes, that was the notion.
Yeah, and you know, I explained to you, and I would like to explain to the nation here of Guyana. That's not a statement that was made by scientists. These were statements that were made by theologians because of the way that a scientist thought, the way that they think. It was not, you know, within the norm of how a theologian would think. And, you know, even though we may use formulas that you may not directly see in the scriptures, it is not formulas that discredit the scriptures, but it actually accentuate the scriptures.
Right. Beautiful. Now, you're Trinidadian, you've got your wife, she's here traveling with you as well, and you've got 3 children. But apart from that, you've got your business as well.
Yes.
This is where the scientific aspect comes in. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Both my wife and myself, we started Dove Environmental Laboratories in Miami, Florida. We moved to the city of Miramar, Florida. We have been in existence for about 18 years, and we test for environmental matrices. Our specialty is really in indoor air quality. We look at the quality of your indoor environment to determine what might be affecting you physically, you know, biologically. And we do laboratory analysis, interpreting for the client what type of contaminant they may have in that environment. And then we hand it over to an environmental scientist who tells you how to remediate the problem once we find it.
Okay.
I just started a lab, by the way, in New York City. So I've been traveling back and forth in New York. And we're doing the same type of laboratory analysis over there.
Okay. Right. Now, before we got into this particular subject, we were talking about marrying the two together, your professional life and your spiritual life. And you come up with an interesting concept. Let's talk about that.
Okay. You know, I was speaking earlier to Angela, Pastor Messiah's daughter, and I was telling her, you know, most people believe that the physical realm is more real than the spiritual realm, and I disagree. In fact, when you study how the universe was made and how it was created, they said it was created because of a compression of energy. And energy, of course, is never seen. It's never seen. So when you compress energy, it becomes physical. And that's where Albert Einstein theory came. E is equal to mc squared, which is really energy, something that is not physically seen. It comes about by the speed of mass, something that is material. If you speed it up twice, the speed itself, it will become energy. So therefore, you and I here really, we are really two set of energies that were just compressed together. In other words, we were unseen, and we became seen when we were compressed or condensed together. So, you know, when I was talking to Angela, I was telling her that you and I were made in the image of God, according to the scriptures. Now, an image is not as real as the source. If you look into a mirror, the other side of the mirror is what you would be seeing, an image of yourself. Now, which is more real? The picture that you're seeing inside of the mirror, or you that is looking into the mirror? And that's my conclusion. I believe that God, who is the source, looked into the mirror of his word, and on the opposite side, he saw an image. And that's where he decided to make man. So man really was made in the image. He is not as real as God himself.
And so you're saying basically that the different, whether it's facial expressions or facial makeup, it's the different images of God.
Exactly.
as He's created them.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, God is multicultural, and He's not boring. He's never colorblind. I heard people say He's colorblind. No, He's colorful.
Neither is He deaf.
You know, say it again.
Neither is He deaf.
Yes. Oh, He hears very well. He hears everything. So,
All right. Before we go quickly, let's talk a little bit about the concept that you were sharing with me before we got on camera about God being above, the devil being thrown out
yes.
in the atmosphere, and you and I as princes and princesses being put out there to control and take control pretty much
Yes.
of the earth that God has made. How do we put this together? Because I want our friends on the outside to benefit from it.
Sure, sure.
And we only have a few minutes or so let's see how we can put it together.
Yes. You know, according to the creation plan, you know, when Lucifer, you know, betrayed God and he committed treason, he was kicked out of the heavens and he fell into the environment of the earth. And he stayed there for a while because there was this disorder and there was chaos. You know, he only lives in disorder and chaos. But when God began to speak and the sea began to go where it's supposed to be and the dry land appeared and the stars and the moon began to find its orderly position, Satan had to leave there immediately because he cannot live in a place where there is order. I always tell people, you know, one of the best way to fix your problem is to organize yourself back. If you have a problem in your marriage, you have a problem in your relationship, something might be out of order. When you put it back in, Satan immediately has to leave. So now here is Lucifer. He's on this planet.
So you're talking about with the help of God, because you
With the help
of
of
yourself
God.
cannot do it.
Of course.
You need to have His help to do it.
Of course.
All right.
And he will show you how to organize your
Great,
life.
great.
So here he is on this planet. He's walking on the planet. Everything is back into order. So he has to leave. The only place he can go is in the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is the only place that is out of order and out of control. But in the atmosphere is always controlled by the environment. Now, you and I, we live in the environment. I know we are out of time, so I have to go as fast as I can. You and I, we live in the environment. And this is one of the reasons why both God and Satan is competing for man. Because whosoever lives in the environment controls the atmosphere. Now, Lucifer was kicked out of the heavens, fell to the earth. When the earth came out of order, he went back to the atmosphere. He is in a place where he is now totally dependent on whosoever lives in the environment. So now he exists because of who gives him permission from the environment.
So therefore, you and I have got permission
Yes.
to determine where we want to go
We have the power.
and whichever path we want to choose,
Yes.
and to whom will rule us,
Yes.
whether it's God or
Yes.
the devil.
Yes.
Pastor Pepe Ramnath, it was great talking with you. We're out of time, but we hope that you come by some other time and speak to us more. I'm sure our friends are enjoying this.
Yes. Thank you
Take
very
care.
much for having me.
All right. Gyan today continues after this. Stay with us.